guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna make a very cool project, and frankly I haven't had that much fun in sewing anything to be honest, in a long time. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do have fun in all my projects. I love what I'm doing, but working on projects like this is just something different, I guess, and I really enjoyed it. Today we're going to make some denim jeans, which is a project that I wanted to do for a long time, and I haven't come around doing it. I was always like, oh, summer is coming, let's do cute dresses, let's do jumpsuits, let's do stuff, and I kind of pushed it. But today's the day, and we're going to make Instagram-worthy 80s style mint green denim jeans. So without further ado, I mean, the video is already long enough. Let's just jump right into it. Hi guys, it's Thursday. We have one day to make everything and one day to cut everything. Are we gonna do that? Hell yeah, we are, because I don't have a choice. Anyways, I got up with a lot of motivation today. I even went ahead and put something really nice on, so I'm even more motivated. And we're gonna do some jeans today, and I'm really excited for that. I already made the pattern and I already made a mock-up, just because it is a lot of work and it wouldn't fit into one video. So I'm actually just gonna show you how to make jeans and what to look out for and what the specifics are and so on and so forth. And I'm gonna give you the pattern down in the description below and also in the pinned link. It is actually a pattern that I developed from jeans that I already have. So I took the pattern off of some jeans that I already own, made it into a paper pattern, and then did alterations to fit my body. And that's the pattern that I have right now, and you can check it out down in the link below. And for this, we're actually going to use this fabric right here. This is a simple cotton canvas. It's pretty stiff as it is furniture fabric, but that's totally fine. It's not per se a jeans or a denim, but it has about the same structure to it, so it should be fine. You can honestly just use whatever you want. Just make sure that it is about the same weight that jeans fabric has. I'm gonna put it in the description what type of fabric I am using, how much it weighs, and where I got it from. Put the link down in the description if you're interested in this one specifically. And yeah, I guess that's all that I have to say at the moment. Let's go ahead and start with the pants. Don't you worry about the mat. I ran into some problems with ironing and it deformed the mat completely, so there's a new one on the way, don't worry, it's fine. I was just a tiny bit angry about it. So this is my pattern. There are a few for pants specific pattern pieces in it, and then here also the back and front leg. One thing that jeans, or most of jeans, have is actually a piece right here, which is an extra add-on. So you just cut it off of your back pant. It just like adds character, I guess. Just a thing that you do. And then also the pockets, they are round. These are the pockets themselves. So this is gonna come here, and then you're gonna have your pocket facing in the same fabric as your outer fabric, which is gonna go on top of the pocket, which is a different fabric, normally some soft cotton. And then your complete front is right there. And then also just normal fly pieces as per usual, and a waistband, just a straight waistband. And then also, these are for the other pants because I haven't finished them yet. This gorgeous flower pattern, also in a cotton canvas. These are the belt loops, and you just make them in a long piece and then just cut them up for however long you need them for. I guess I'm gonna need about like 7 centimeters per belt loop, and jeans have 5. You can honestly do however much you want, but I'm gonna do 2 in the front and 3 in the back. And yeah, that's it. So let's get to cutting. One thing that is specific to jeans are actually the seams. Not all the seams, but most, or some, I guess. More decorative seams, you probably have seen it before. They have a double stitch. I'm gonna show you right here on my jeans that are already almost finished. For example, here, the double stitching here and here. And that is a specific thing, which is called this in English. And that is a specific way which works like this basically, right? So if this is your seam allowance and this is your seam allowance, they interlock, and then you just sew like this, right? Okay, let's stop here for a second. I'm actually going to explain to you how flat felt seams work. So you're going to have your two pieces. One is going to have 1 centimeter or 0.5 centimeters more seam allowance, which you're going to put on top of each other, right sides together. And while stitching, you're folding that one side that is more over and stitch it closely to the edge. You then iron everything onto the side where the open raw edge lays, so that you can stitch again on the other side that folded edge down. And that's what's going to make this so durable. Look at this. You can stretch it however much you want. This is the most durable seam you could make. So I didn't do that. I did it once right here. This is what it looks like inside. So it has the stitching and then it just folds to the inside and you don't see any seam allowance. As you can see right here and here, I didn't do that. And that is for a good reason, which is that I totally forgot about it. And only when I was cutting out this piece, thought about it, and it was like, let's do it for the sake of it, I guess. And let's try it out. But honestly, this is, you know, when you go back into the history of jeans and stuff, jeans used to be worker pants, and those need to be durable like crazy. And these seams specifically, as they interlock like this, they are extremely durable. But in nowadays, they are just reminiscent of the look of jeans and not necessarily there for the purpose of being durable anymore. I mean, obviously, sure, make your pants as durable as you can just because you put some work in it and you don't want it to break. But it's not that necessary anymore, because I doubt that you're gonna use these pants and you're gonna, you know, build a railroad track or something, you know, heavy duty. Therefore, most of this is just aesthetics nowadays. And that's why I decided to just go with my mistake, more or less, and not have those seams and just overlock it, fold it to one side, and then also double top stitch it to get the look. And that is actually how most of the pants nowadays are manufactured anyways, because it is more fabric, more work, and so on and so forth. And that's just where you, you know, save a little bit of money and time if you just do it the fake way, I guess. And that's also what I'm gonna do for these pants. I just wanted to tell you, if you really want to make real, you know, original jeans per se, you would need those seams. And as they work like this, you actually only need one side to have 1.5 centimeters seam allowance. The other side just cut out with 1 centimeter. It's a lot of work. I don't do it. I just wanted to say it. So I'm gonna cut out everything with 1 centimeter seam allowance and then do the top stitching double like this, just for the look. Okay, next thing is very important actually, and that's interfacing. And interfacing in general is a very important thing. In case you haven't known, your clothes are gonna get 10 times better just by putting some interfacing on the respective parts. For this project, one thing that specifically needs interfacing is the waistband, the fly pieces, and then some more pieces need interfacing tape on some seams. So that's also important. Before you put interfacing on your fly piece, you need to remember where this goes on. And the fly piece in jeans always goes on your left side. Check that out before you put any interfacing on, otherwise you're gonna have to end up cutting that piece out again, and we don't want that. Okay, the next thing that we need to focus on is the cutout. So I'm in the front pant, the cutout for the pocket. And what we want to do for this is stabilize it, as all of this is on a bias and it's going to stretch out if you don't do that. So I have an interfacing tape right here with a satin band in the middle, which is going to stabilize this edge really nicely, because the interfacing is cut on a bias, so it's specifically made to go on corners or on curves. And you can simply just iron this on. I am suggesting to iron it like 0.5 millimeters away from the actual edge so that your satin band that is in this interfacing tape actually gets stitched on. So the satin band sits on the actual stitching line of your piece and not right at the corner. And then I'm also gonna put one in the center front for the same purpose, and like down here, same purpose, and also because the fly or the opening in general needs as much stabilization as you can give it more or less. And then I'm gonna cut out a piece that is the shape of my fly piece, the round one right here, and I'm gonna iron it onto this part right there to stabilize it further. And that you only have to do on the left side of your pants. So this is the right piece. And this is the outside now, obviously, as the markings are on that. So I'm going to use the inside to put interfacing also on the center back. Same thing, same principle. So the first thing that we're gonna do is get all the pockets ready. That's what I like to do first. And for the back pockets, we're just gonna overlock the upper corner. And for the front pockets, while we're at it already, we are going to overlock the round edge of the facings. So that's done. And now we're gonna take the back pockets and fold our seam allowance down and iron it. I made the seam allowance 1.5 centimeters just because I find it's easier to do it if the seam allowance is a tiny bit bigger. And once done with that, we're going to repeat the same thing on all of the remaining seam allowances. And if you have troubles for the fabric staying like that, you can use some seam tape, which glues it down basically, and it holds it better in place. But this fabric right here is super easy to iron actually, so I'm not using that. And you probably want to iron the top last so that the upper corner doesn't have anything sticking out weirdly. I like to then turn it around and just give it an overall press from the other side, just to make sure that everything stays in place. And it should look like this. And we're gonna stitch those on in just a second, but we're also gonna prepare the front pockets. These are my pockets themselves. They have a cutout where the piece out of your main fabric fits underneath perfectly, like that. And those just get stitched on, top stitch them on in the overlock seam, and then that's the front pocket. That's all you have to do. Just stitch it on one time here. Like this. As you can see right there, I am stitching with a thick white thread because I want to have some nice stitching visible on the outside, and I frankly also don't have thick green for thread, so that's not even an option. So I am stitching in white. Anyways, onto the back pockets. We're actually going to use directly our back legs and make sure that we have the right pockets as they are different. See, this is the wrong one. First of all, before we stitch this, I'm going to fix the upper corner into place. So I'm going to top stitch it, and that's what's that gonna look like. And now I can continue and do the rest of the stitching to put it onto the pants. So now that the pockets are in place, they look really, really nice with a contrast stitching. So if you really want to make your pants look as if you bought them, use a contrast stitching. It makes so much. Anyways, we are going to continue with the front leg because we also have pockets in there. And I just personally like to finish all pockets before I continue with anything else, just so that I have a complete front and back piece, you know, or pieces. So this is easy enough. We put interfacing tape on this seam right here, so it should not stretch out. And this is the corner that just goes right here. We just stitch along here, fold it over and iron it, and then also do a top stitching here. And then everything is going to look like this, like it's supposed to. And that's how the pockets should end up looking. And just a small pro tip. The inner corner right here in the pattern is a corner. And that's actually the place where all the dust will collect. To avoid this, just put a diagonal seam in here, and it's way easier to clean it out. It's going to look something like this. This is not visible. It really makes a difference though, even though that it's just a small thing like in there. And now, since we're done with the pockets now, we're gonna put the front pieces to the side and continue with the back. I know there's a lot of switching around, but that's the easiest way I found doing stuff, because on the back right here there are two pieces missing still, which are these right here, and we're gonna put them like this and then overlock and then top stitch. I already went ahead and closed the center back. I don't know why I didn't film it, or my camera just deleted it. I'm not sure anymore. It was some time ago, a few hours today. So I finished the seam in the back. I did the exact same as with everything else, just sewed it together and then top stitched the seam allowance to one side. Now the back is completely done. Just make sure when you put the back together that your corner of your yoke right here also looks nice, so that you match up the seams. That's very important, otherwise you're gonna have to do it again. So let's put this aside and let's actually work on the center front opening. And that works the exact same way as with every other pair of pants that you might have done before, or you might have seen on my channel. I have a few of those on there, so you might have seen that. First things first, taking the roundish fly piece, and we're actually going to stitch it on the left, laying down the right. I've talked about this before. Piece of the front. We're going to do right sides together, and we're only going to sew up until the notch. Once that is on, I am ironing seam allowance into the piece and then the fly piece as well, making sure that the seam itself is not visible from the outside. I should have overlocked this piece before I attached it, but that's not a problem. You can still do that right now. Just overlock the corner right here before we fix this into place here on this corner. This is what that looks like. As you can see right here, I just top stitched it at 5mm just to make the piece stay where it's supposed to stay. Not that it needs it, because it's gonna get top stitched, you know, the usual rounded way right here as well. So it would be fixed anyways, but it also looks nice. So this is not only a practical, but also an aesthetic thing. And we're done with the left pant leg at the moment. We're gonna continue on with the right one, and we're gonna need a zipper right now. And I'm really happy that I found this zipper, because this is a pant zipper, and it's a bit like broken right here, but that is not a problem. It is almost the color. I mean, it is at least a muted green, so I actually thought that I'm gonna use like a plastic zipper just for me, because I don't have one. So for pants like this, durable pants that might sit tight around your hip area, you want to use a metal zipper. You don't want to put that much pressure on a plastic zipper, because it's just going to burst open. Okay, this is gonna go right here, sandwiched in between this part right here. And what I'm gonna do with this is actually the folded edge is gonna go to the outside. So here, next to the zipper, I am placing the raw edge, which is then gonna get overlocked together with everything in this sandwich right here. If you're not comfortable doing this, you can also sew the zipper on first and then do the fly piece. I'm gonna do that too, but you can, if you dare to, also do everything at one time. This also gets only sewn up until the notch. And the next step, once the zipper is in, you might already guess, you place the front on top of the other front, and then we're gonna go underneath here and take the round fly piece and the zipper like that. And now we're gonna sew the still loose side of the zipper onto the round fly piece. And now we can go ahead and sew the top stitching on here. And what I like to do for that is actually take my fly stitch piece here. And now you can grab the fly piece, the round one and the folded one, and it should perfectly fit together. And what you're doing now is you're overlocking this edge together, basically cutting off the remaining part right here and fixing those two together to make one piece down here, just where the roundness starts, just from here to here. And once we're done with that, the last thing that we're gonna do in the front is actually add some decorative stitching right here. And we're gonna do a double stitch up until here where the two double stitches of the fly piece meet, and we're gonna go back down. And now we can already go ahead and put back and front leg together, just right sides on top of each other. So now that the pants are basically almost done, it's time to make the waistband. And what we're gonna do for that is actually prepare one of the two, because it just makes it easier. And we're gonna iron one long side up 1 centimeter, just the seam allowance. And now we're gonna take this one and the one that is not ironed up and sew along the short edges and all the way over the long edge to the other side. To make the folding over easier, I also cut away the seam allowance in the corners and then iron everything so that the seams are not visible on the outside. And now that this is prepared, we can go ahead and put it onto the pants themselves. I am normally just eyeing where everything goes and like feeling where everything goes, I guess, rather than having notches, but I will put some notches in the pattern just for you to make it easier for, you know, the front zipper, the side seams and the center back and stuff like that. And then I just sew everything at 1 centimeter together and then turn over the seam allowance that I ironed up before and pin it down just to cover up the seam that I just sewed. And that's because I'm gonna top stitch it next to fix it into place. And when you fold it over the seam that you just sewed, you make sure that you're gonna catch the folded edge right there of the inner waistband, and it's gonna look really, really neat and tidy if you pin it correctly. That's what I'm doing right here, as you can see. And also a really cool thing, you might have seen this before on my channel. This is my buttonhole stitcher machine, mechanical device, whatever, foot, which is making a buttonhole because I am working on an industrial machine which can only do like straight sewing lines, as opposed to normal sewing machines that have different programs where you can do a buttonhole as well. So that's my contraption that I use for my buttonholes, works really, really well. And the last thing is the belt loops. So I made this really, really long piece by folding in the overlocked edges and then top stitching it just next to the corner, and then I'm cutting them into smaller pieces, which I am then bar tacking onto the pants. I also put a button there where the buttonhole is, and yeah, that's all. That's my pants. I kind of feel like I rushed it a little bit towards the end right there, but I just really got in this finishing mode. I don't know if you can relate to that or you've ever been in a similar situation, but if you enjoy doing something that much, you are just trying to like do the best you can and get it done because you want to wear it. At least that's how I felt. I was like, let's get this done. Let's do the buttonhole, let's do the belt loops, let's finish everything because I really want to wear them out. And they came out so, so nice, you guys. I am so in love with the color. I am in love with the contrast between the stitching and the mint green. I love the fit. It's and yeah, I'm really, really excited to show you the final piece, which I'm of course gonna do at the end of the video as usual. But before that, I just quickly wanted to ask you guys to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring the bell to get notified next time I post. I always post on Sundays, so you can keep an eye out for my videos then, or anytime else, to be honest. And if you haven't already, please also check out my socials. The name is the same as here on YouTube on every social that I have, you know, Instagram, TikTok, and Etsy, if you can call that a social, I guess. But check out my Etsy store if you haven't already, and if you're interested in the pattern, it is linked in the pinned comment and also in the description box below. So thank you so much again for watching, and I'm gonna see you next Sunday. Bye guys!